Hello everybody, I'm Jamaican9008, and I'm going to be doing something new for this channel, and this is reviews on stories I've read. And now here's a recent favorite of mine made from my friend, Fireshot65, which he got from his friend, the Awesome Bringer. And this is called Okami plus Demon, which is basically a Rosario plus vampire parody, you would say. However, this is where we meet a few people. This is where a few things are changed around in a sort of way. It still features the same, main character going to the school. However, the main character is more of a badass who fights. I don't really have anything against main protagonists who can't defend themselves. It's just something that happens with me. I just don't really like it when main protagonists can't defend themselves. It's pretty annoying to me. Anyway, so yeah, Okami plus Demon episode 1. I'm going to be looking at that. And the following contains, and like before, the following contains ecchi, mature language, somewhat offensive slurs, and slight religious and satanic content. Also, there's a bit of unoriginality in this story, so if you're sensitive to this kind of content, then please do not watch this video. I do not want anyone to watch. I do not want random people to go, "Oh, this stuff is offensive," so I can write, if this is offensive, why did you watch it then? Off topic. Now, let's read Okami plus Demon episode 1. So, the story starts with an intro talking about the struggles in the depths of hell, about the birth of the Antichrist, the child of the darkness, Beelzebub. Lucifer wanted to use this child and turn her into a weapon. However, one demon rose up and rebelled against the forces of hell. This was called Taka, demon lord of storms, who ultimately sacrificed his physical life to seal away the 6 deadly demons. Somehow, Beelzebub survived. He wanted to revenge on Taka by killing Taka's son, the Raiden Nephilem. However, Lucifer's second coming arrived. Though the trials and conflicts were forced to 2 children whether to fight or to coexist peacefully, all the fate of the universe. How would chaos exist without order, and how would order exist without chaos? That all lies in this review/story. It starts out in a nice peaceful morning in San Francisco. The buildings are shining in the sunlight, peaceful clouds, followed by woo! Yeah, that. This is where we meet our main protagonist of the story, Jacob Uchiha. Where on the August 10th, 2013 is the first day he goes to Okami Academy. And this is where we meet a bunch of smiling faces, a cast of colorful characters, which consists of David, Jacob's one of Jacob's good friends, Kami, who is the mom of the group, Corey, no, not Corey from Ed, Edd n Eddy Z, Corey Fullbuster, Jared, Jacob's younger brother, yeah, Tanooki, who is my character and as well as Jacob's good friend, and Zuto, Jacob's rival. So, it starts off with an early morning, a bit of banter, classical teenagers living on their own. And then afterwards, everybody wishes Jacob a tearful goodbye. As Jacob is walking to the bus stop, he reads the flyer, which is in Japanese, which he can thankfully read due to the fact that he's a descendant from the legendary Sasuke Uchiha. Yes, Jacob is a descendant from Sasuke. Don't look at me, it's not my character. Fireshot wanted this. Anyway, so back to the story. As well as Jacob calls himself a blondie, which is how we learn that Jacob is extremely sensitive about his hair color, especially when people get it wrong. For it is called Dirty Blonde. Also, also, Fireshot did make a picture on how to piss off Jacob, which featured my character pissing off Jacob and not feeling scared in the slightest. So yeah, Jacob then meets the bus driver, who has wolf ears, and which suddenly hits him on why the school is called Okami Academy. After Jacob enters in the bus, Kami rings to check on Jacob, like a normal mother would, like a mom would do. As she tries to explain to Jacob that it's not in any other school, like it's not any other average school, the signal suddenly cuts off. To which Jacob then listens to music, which is indestructible by Disturbed. After falling asleep, a few hours pass by, or so it seems. Finally, the bus had stopped. Jacob's phone would have usually run out, but thanks to him having electrical powers, it always stays at 100%. So he doesn't need the charger. That is so cool. Anyways, so the bus driver then says that he doesn't really says Jacob, is he really an Okami? Jacob responds by saying that he's a demon, to which he does not know he's in actuality a Nephilem. But we'll find that out later in the story. Well, not later in the story, later in the episodes. Spoiler alert! So then afterwards, the bus driver then says that Okamis will eat outsiders like him for lunch, and warns Jacob that he would watch his back off if he was in Jacob's shoes. Jacob then walks through the forest, obviously narrating to us, saying that the bus driver, has no idea of the amount of destruction and chaos he has been through. Which is where we meet Loki. No, not the DC Loki, not the Marvel Loki that tries to, trick Thor. Loki the demon. The flying demon that often tells us who or what things are. After Jacob sees the flying demon, not looking where he's going, he crashes into a pink haired girl. To which Jacob swears, "Ah, my beeping face! Watch where you're going!" He grabs something soft and warm. To which he grabs her thigh, and she moans slightly. He lets go. That's when she reveals her pretty face. And Jacob helps her up like the gentleman he is. Afterwards, because she then afterwards perks up and sniffs. Jacob smells as well, saying that he smells of roses and candy. She asks if those were flames, and then afterwards she grows fangs and bites the flames out of him, making a sexual moaning noise. Jacob's flames leak out of her mouth, and then she sucks up the flames, and then releases it. Jacob doesn't really feel any pain to this, anyways. I think it's because he's immune to this. Because if I was bitten by that, then yeah, I'd feel massive pain. Anyways, she gets embarrassed by saying that she loves the smell of flames so much, and she asks Jacob if he's not mad at her. Jacob, being the nice guy, isn't really mad at him at all. Isn't really mad at her at all. To which she asks if she wants to be friends. Jacob responds with a yes! She glump tackles him. And then Jacob says he may not be perverted, well, he's a little bit, but he says that her candies are double D's. This is where we are introduced to Peppermint. Afterwards, they wonder if Jacob then breaks the slight introduction by saying they should go to school. Jacob pedals away, Peppermint pedals away, and Jacob speeds off to his classroom. And this is where we meet the big boobied teacher, Miss Bumbler. Yeah, the B. So anyways, yeah. So, and yeah, she then explains that this is a school for Okamis, and stating that if they are learning about humans and they are learning to coexist with them, so it helps to blend in with them. However, one guy then says, can't they just eat humans as well as have a little fun with the girls too? To which Jacob responds by clenching his fist and growling, because in actuality he hates rapists and has taken out a fair share of them, and he's even killed some of them. To which some have been too scared to even do it again. And Tanooki was basically stopping him all those times. The software then does a narrow leer to Jacob, and a long fork-like tongue slithers out of his mouth and swishes into the air. Jacob responds by calling him an emo and telling him he doesn't roll that way, e.g. sexual preferences. Jacob's not gay. Miss Bumbler then explains, which is actually quite surprising, that if any human was to come here, they would be instantly killed and eaten alive on the spot. To which Jacob responds by saying that this school is quite harsh. Yeah, I think that's a bit too harsh. But it's the good thing that he's not completely human, and he's a half demon, just to be precise. And it's basically for him to keep a low profile. That is till Peppermint comes in looking like she's just ran 10k. Male students begin to swoon over her because she's such a cutie. To which she notices Jacob, and Glomp tackles him. The male students get angry and call him a bastard. Well, there goes keeping a low profile. Loki then flies off the screen and, skips the period before anything bad happens. So yeah, 2 hours passes by, and then she drinks, and then Peppermint asks how Jacob is enjoying school so far. He's saying it's fine, with the exception of the menacing death glares he got when he was walking with Peppermint. Fucking horn dogs. Anywhoosies, they begin to talk about they continue to talk about random stuff, as well as talking about their fantastic stories about his friends, which are surprisingly true. She is surprised how Jared, the kid before who Jacob shoved an electric eel into his mouth earlier before, was able to survive eating an electric eel because he's in electrokinesis. She responds by saying that Jacob has weird friends. I mean, who hasn't got any weird friends? I mean, I do. Anyways, so then a large shadow looms across them, which is where we are introduced to Hachi. Let's just call him Hachi, the emo jackass, and Peppermint's so-called future boyfriend. Jacob finds this funny, and he wonders if that pickup line has worked before. Hachi responds by grabbing him by the shirt, but Jacob continues to tick him off by calling him an emo. Hachi tells Jacob to scram and let a real man handle a woman. Jacob responds by throwing him across the hall. Damn, Jacob, you really showed his ass. Anyways, they then speed off. Jacob then unfortunately breaks his promise to Kami, and they speed off to the rooftops. They begin to talk a lot more. And Peppermint asks if Jacob is an Okami, to which he responds, isn't it against the rule to reveal their species? She then points to her chest, to which Jacob responds by saying, are you trying to kill him? Is she trying to kill him with erotic thoughts? This is where we are introduced to the red orb with the red claw covering it, which is that necklace, the orb of lost souls. It was revealed that she may be an Hormura Okami, but in actuality, she's an Okami demon. When the orb breaks, she turns into her true self, Dahala, the Antichrist. Yeah. To which Jacob responds by doing that. I know, imagine meeting the Antichrist in real life. Anyways, so yeah. He doesn't really know that the Antichrist really existed. So, after Peppermint tells Jacob about herself, she wants Jacob to do the same. To which Jacob replies with, he's a half demon. However, he wasn't done yet. He is a half demon, half human. Yep. So Peppermint is skeptical at first, to which Jacob reminds her by saying, you think humans these days can have special powers? However, she says this is some sort of bad joke, to which she then gets scared of Jacob. Jacob then gets really upset, and is hurt and broken, due to the fact by saying that he wouldn't let him explain itself. She then shed some tears. Wow, this is really sad. Anyway, so then Jacob decides to wait at the bus stop while firing lightning bolts at a few trees. He then figures the right thing to do is to apologize, to which she then hears a scream. However, it is revealed that Peppermint is being sexually harassed by Hachi. You know, the emo jackass Jacob threw across the wall. Anyway, so then, after we learn that Hachi is a shadow Okami who has shadow powers, Jacob then swoops in and saves Peppermint. That's when a brief fight starts between Jacob and Hachi, to which Jacob wins momentarily, and Hachi seems defeated, only for Hachi to get back up and stab Jacob with shadow spikes. Jacob then grabs Peppermint's necklace and breaks it on the ground. To which then a bunch of lost souls, to which the sky turns red, the water turns black, and a bunch of demons then changes Peppermint. Her breasts get bigger, her hips get bigger, her clothes change from black to red, her hair turns from pink and curly to blood red and flowing. She gains demonic horns, demonic tails, demonic wings that are black. The insides are red. She then opens her eyes to have the crimson red, to have the pentagram star on each of them, and she has turned into a Dahala, which is the similar transformation that Mocha turns into when she turns into her vampire side. Hachi then afterwards feels like his soul is burning up. She then starts walking towards him. He then tries to dash at Dahala. However, he unfortunately had his ass kicked by Dahala instantly, to which he says, "Know your place." That line seems oddly familiar. Anyways, also this episode's battle took 150 seconds. He then passes out from blood loss and he falls asleep on her chest, which surprisingly was very soft. Anyways, so then his healing factor then begins to kick in. He wakes up 10 minutes later, Peppermint hugs her, and she then apologizes for what she said. She then tells Jacob why she freaked out by telling him why he hates humans, because they were cruel and mean. However, she's glad that she met Peppermint. She's glad that she met him. They then look like they're about to kiss, only for Peppermint to bite Jacob's neck with flames. And with that, the episode ends. So, yeah. That is Okami plus Demon episode 1 in a nutshell. Now, I'll go with the good, the bad, although there's nothing bad about this episode, and overall what I think of it. Let's start with the good. I really like how it goes into the intro, talking about how, you know, the 6 deadly sins, however, one of them survived, you know, because there's usually 7 deadly sins. And if I recall correctly, the 7 deadly sins are lust, pride, sloth, greed, I don't even know what the 7 deadly sins are, but you know. Anyway, so then it's nice to see that Jacob goes into the intro and how chaos can exist without order, and how order can't exist without chaos. I really like how Jacob screams like a sheep. That was actually quite funny. I'd imagine how Jacob would respond to that. Anyways, yeah, I like how he momentarily screams like a sheep twice in the story, because it's quite funny to see how there's a bit of comedy in this as well as like introducing the many characters, going on with banter, and then, you know, it's quite good. I also really like how Jacob like forms a relationship with Peppermint. Like, he forms this relationship with Peppermint. They form like this friendship, which soon to be relationship. But however, it then changes into it then sort of gets dark. But then they sort of make up at the end of the episode. Now, the one thing that there's nothing that I could say I didn't really like in the story. There was nothing that I really didn't like in the story. It's just that it seemed pretty good for a first try. I didn't really like how the male students were just glaring at Jacob. But you know how the males are when seeing a cute girl. Overall, what I think of this episode was actually quite good. It had a bit of banter in it. It had like some moments where we introduced the characters momentarily. It had like certain backstories about characters, and like it talks about how Peppermint is in actuality her true self, which is Dahala, the Antichrist, and you know, this is a really good story. Especially with the part where Hachi gets his ass kicked. I actually like that part. Now, what do I rate this episode? Well, obviously, I would rate this a 10 out of 10. This is a really good story. This is a really good story when I read this. It as well, because it shows many good moments, it shows many sad moments, and it also shows like how character relationships will build. That was my first ever review on a Okami plus Demon episode 1. I'm sorry if I sounded a bit rusty here, and I will try to do much better in the second episode, Dark Dream and the Demon. Yeah, that's the it. Oh, and the name of this episode is called New School and the Demon. Sorry if I didn't get any clarification. Yeah. So anyways, that is Okami plus Demon episode 1 finished. And just so you know, all characters, with the exception of Tanooki, do not belong to me. So yeah. Anyways, so I'm Jamaican08, and I will see you in the next video. Peace!